This week in green. When you hear the word Sponge City, you may imagine a cleaning supply megastore, but it's actually the latest concept to help China's water crisis. China has experienced a dramatic amount of flooding over the past year, with 443 rivers overflowing and displacing millions of people. So a new strategy will be needed to help prevent these water shortages and flooding. Professor Kangjian Yu conceived of sponge cities in 2013, where the purpose is to absorb, store, and purify rainwater. With the massive development in cities and population growth, China's urbanization has increased by 14.5% since 2008. And they project 70% of the population is expected to live in urban areas by 2035. That means there just isn't enough undeveloped land for rain to be absorbed. If China can make cities more spongier, with a combination of storage tunnels, rain gardens, wetlands, and bioswales, the country can not only prevent flooding, but can hold and harvest water. The adjustment won't be easy, as topography, climate, and previous city design will prevent implementing effective water absorption methods quickly, as well as wavering investments in the project and governance issues. Let's hope this idea of sponge cities is absorbed around the world to help our planet. China is planning to build 30 sponge cities across the country. I personally have a recommendation for China. You want to know how to get these sponge cities faster? Slides. Add water slides. You want to keep the water everywhere? Why not transform these 30 sponge cities into epic water parks? Oh, and if it's too cold, ice slides, baby! Let's slip and slide our way into a better planet.
Ice Slides Baby was a hit in the 1980s, if you remember. That song was one of the tops.
Ice Slides Baby. Ding, 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 ding. Well done.
Total hit.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the campaign for China's ice slides. Because, you have the water park everywhere else, but in the colder regions, they got to compete with the water parks. So they've got Ice Slides Baby.
Yeah.
Ice Slides Baby.
Which is also just a good name in general for the slide park.
I agree.
Ice Slides Baby.
I would visit a park that was called Ice Slides Baby.
Yeah. What if it was literal? Like it was an Ice Slides Baby.
Oh, okay. So like their spokesperson is an infant.
Yes.
It's a baby.
Yes.
And it dances. It's like that dancing baby
it does
from
something
the
called
internet.
the Ice Slide.
The Ice Slide.
Yeah,
which is
that's
a
its dance
very
move.
popular dance move.
Everyone's doing the Ice Slide.
Everybody. It's like basically Six Flags dancing man, but this is a baby, and everybody in the world is like Ice Slides Baby, and there's a move. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm in. I think we just saved China.
Congratulations. We saved China.
We did it.
All right.
No, it's when I first got this story, I was like, Sponge City, this is going to be like the whole ground is like a sponge, but it's more of like a metaphorical sponge. It's like trying to find ways to hold on to everything. But I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
What'd you think
They're
of it?
very clever in China. I mean, they
Sure
really are
are.
with some of these solutions. They have problems that other countries don't have just because the population is so massive. Mm-hmm. And they have to solve things in kind of a wild way. And some of the things they come up with they're interesting.
Yeah, and they keep building and building and building, and there's so much land that they lay, concrete and structures over. It's like, there's nowhere for this rainwater to fall.
Yeah.
So things keep flooding. So it's like, you got to figure out a way, guys, to not build everywhere.
Well, there's so many. That's one of those problems of overpopulation that we don't think about, right?
Yeah.
If you turn everything into a city, then
the earth can't breathe.
if there's nothing for the earth.
There's nothing
nothing left.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. So it's look. I mean, they've got to solve these problems, and they've got an interesting idea to go for it. I mean, I think Sponge City sounds
Sponge Cities.
sounds fun to me.
Yeah, we covered I think it was a week before last where we talked a little bit about those ice stupas, and we can see that this water thing is going to be an ongoing issue. From China needing more water and ways to control water, and it seems to be a recurring theme in these environmental stories.
Yeah, I mean, one of the advantages you have to cities like that is you can build drainage so that water can go away. But usually that drainage kind of makes its way to the ocean. It sort of just goes away, which is fine and dandy if you want to keep it away from the city, and it's good for avoiding disasters, right? Because you have less flooding when you have good drainage.
Yeah.
The downside is that you don't have water where water used to be.
Exactly.
And then so whatever was there, it dies. And that's we talk about that sometimes even with from a different perspective with solar panels, right? Like I think there's a perspective that you can just cover the whole desert with solar panels, and it's like, well, actually there's there's a lot that's alive in the
That
in the
needs to
desert.
thrive.
Yeah, you don't think about it, but if
Yeah.
it was all shaded and covered with solar, that would be the same thing as just covering with concrete.
Yeah.
It would all kind of die. down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
put solar panels all over the desert. Is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, well, let's just exactly.
Keep some of it.
Let's put the solar panels where we already are anyway.
Yes,
that's
it.
my thought.
But the last talking points before we close out our story is this: sponge city infrastructure requires much less energy to maintain when compared to gray infrastructure. By the way, that's what they were calling the infrastructure of buildings and roads and whatnot, which is fair.
It looks pretty great.
It's pretty great to me. So it reduces the load on water treatment facilities, while heat reduction effects cut reliance on air conditioning. So there's a lot of moisture and coolness in the air. Construction requires fewer resources, including less concrete, and sponge cities contain large green spaces that absorb carbon dioxide. So this would be really great if we could all around the world in these big urban areas find more and more ways to build kind of sponge city ideas.
Feels like an episode of DuckTales.
It does. It
right?
does.
Like some crazy person has come in and said, "We're going to turn the whole city into sponge," and then Scrooge McDuck and the nephews have to run out and despongify everything.
And they have to desponge it, and then the whole time you realize in the end the guy was trying to save everybody.
Yeah,
and,
that he was right,
and that really Scrooge and the boys ruined the
as
world.
per usual.
Yes.
The rich guy is actually
He's-
killing us all. That was the lesson of DuckTales all along.
It was.
Yeah.
The rich guys who do it. We'll have more for you soon.